The plumbing labor shortage is exposing why your business still depends on you. Most plumbing owners think the labor shortage is a hiring problem. I don't. I think it's exposing something much bigger. It's exposing why so many plumbing businesses still depend too much on the owner. Because when a good tech quits, the pressure doesn't disappear, it lands somewhere. And in most plumbing companies, it lands right back on the owner. The owner jumps back into the field, covers the tough calls. The owner fixes the schedule, handles the upset customers. He becomes the backup plan for every missing person, every weak process, every decision the team is not ready to make. That's the real problem. A labor shortage doesn't just expose a staffing issue, it exposes a structure of the business. And if the structure is weak, the owner becomes the structure. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the plumber trades are projected to need about 44,000 openings filling every year for the next decade. And many of those openings are not from growth, they're from people leaving occupation or the workforce altogether. And that matters because when you lose a good tech, you don't just lose a person, you lose capacity, experience, you lose speed and margin, you lose customer confidence, and sometimes you lose the little bit of freedom the owner has had left. That's why this matters so much. If your plumbing business already depends too much on you, the labor shortage makes that dependency worse. It doesn't create the problem, it reveals it. A lot of the plumbing companies work fine when there are 1, 2 trucks, a few techs, say. Everybody knows what's going on. The owner is close to the job. The team calls when they need something. And because the owner is involved, he knows the answer. It works for a while. But then the business grows. More calls, more trucks, more techs, more customers, and you know what? More problems. And all of a sudden, that same way of running the business starts to break down. The owner says, I need better help, right? That's what we normally go to. And maybe, but many times what the owner really needs is structure. Because if every decision still comes back to you, the owner has not truly scaled. It has only gotten bigger. And there's a difference. A bigger company has more trucks. A stronger company has clear leadership. A bigger company has more people. A stronger company has people who know what decisions they can make. A bigger company may have more calls. A stronger company can handle those calls without dragging the owner into everything. That's the part most owners miss. The labor shortage is dangerous because it puts pressure on every weak spot in the business. If the dispatch is unclear, it'll show. If training is weak, it's going to show. If callbacks are not owned, it shows, and so on. And when nobody clearly owns it, the owner owns it by default. Let me repeat that. If nobody clearly owns it, the owner owns it by default. That is how owner dependency happens. Not always because the owner wants control, sometimes because the business never clearly handed ownership to anybody else. People were given tasks, but not authority. They were given responsibility, but not decision rights. They were told to help, but not told the results that were actually expected. That's not structure, that's hope. And hope is not structure. Here's a simple example. A tech calls from the field, the customer wants additional repair. Let's say the tech is not sure what to say, so he calls you. You answer, you give direction, the problem gets solved. But here's the issue. If that same kind of decision happens again next week, and he calls you again, and then another tech calls with the same kind of question, you don't have a tech problem. You have a decision ownership problem. The question is not just what should we do on this call, the better question is what decision should this person be able to make without me? That is how you start removing dependency. One recurring decision at a time, one role at a time, one bottleneck at a time. Because every repeated question is showing you something, is showing you where your business still depends on the owner for everything. And during a labor shortage, that becomes expensive. You cannot afford to have all the knowledge trapped in one person. You cannot afford to have every issue escalated or to have training depend on whoever happens to be available that day. You cannot afford to have the owner be the answer for everything. Because if the best tech quits, the business is already under pressure. But if that tech has also the person who trained the younger techs, handled the hard jobs, kept customers calm, answered the questions, and protect the quality, you didn't just lose labor, you lost leadership. And if leadership was not built into the company, it comes back to you. Now you're back in the field more often, back answering every call, solving schedules, doing quality control, back carrying the weight of the business. And that's when growth starts to feel heavier instead of easier. From the outside, the company may still look successful. I mean, the trucks are wrapped, the phone's ringing, the schedule is full, team's busy. But behind the scene, the owner is tired because the owner is still the system and the system has a limit. So what do? First, stop looking at hiring. Yes, hiring matters. You need good people. You need to recruit. You need to train and retain. But if only plan is more techs, you're missing the deeper issue. Because even if you find them, what are they going to walk into? Are they walking into a company with clear roles, clear standards, clear training, clear decision making, clear accountability? Or are they walking into a company where everybody still depends on the owner for every answer? Because if they walk into chaos, one of two things are going to happen. They either leave or they stay and depend on you. Either way, you lose. So before you just go out after the next hire, look inside the business and ask 4 questions. Who owns this? What decisions can they make without me? What results are they responsible for? When do we review the progress and the results? Those 4 questions can change the way your plumbing business operates. Take one recurring problem, callbacks, scheduling, or discount approval, customer complaints, part issues, training gaps, whatever. Just pick one, then ask, who owns this? What decisions can they make? What results are they responsible for? When do we review it? That's how you start building structure. Not theory, not covering nonsense, simple, practical structure. The kind a plumbing company actually needs. Because the companies that make it through this labor shortage will not just be the ones with the better ads, or they will not just be the ones with the cheaper pricing or the screaming the louder online. They will be the companies that can operate with discipline, train faster, retain better, make better decisions closer to work, protect quality, develop leaders, and keep moving without owner involved in every single thing. That is the real advantage. The labor shortage is not just a market problem, it's a mirror. It shows you where the company is strong and it shows you where the company still depends too much on you. So if one key person leaves, does your business bend or does it break? If you step away for a few days, does the team keep moving or does everything come back to you? If the schedule gets tight, does your team solve the problem or does your phone become the command center? Those answers tell you more than your revenue will, because growth that depends on you for everything is not freedom. It's just a bigger version of that same trap. So start building the structure now. Clarify who owns what. Hand over decisions. Create accountability. Train people to think. Build leaders before you desperately need them. Because if your plan is to just work harder when the next key person leaves, you're not solving the problem. You're becoming the system. And that system has limit. If your plumbing business is growing, but too much of it still depends on you, I put together a quick owner dependency calculator. It takes about 3 minutes or so. It'll show you where the business is still leaning too heavily on you. The link is below in the description. So fix the structure, free the owner, and I'll see you in the next video.